Happy Pride Month, everybody. This is the Sliders Review. I'm here today to talk to you about Pretty Little Liars Emily Fields and her very dramatic roller coaster of an LGBT lifestyle, at least for the first couple of seasons. Just like with the Ackley Bridge, Nazim, I'm only going to be talking about that of Emily instead of that of the episode in which she comes out. Only because it's about like the ninth or like 12th episode, something like that in the first season. And a lot of stuff happens. Like a lot of stuff happens. And so I just feel like it wouldn't be fair to like talk about like all that stuff that happens and you be kind of like confused and stuff, because I haven't really reviewed this entire season yet. I mean, I've done the first episode, but that's about it. And so yeah, plus it's more than just that one episode. It's a combination of many episodes, and so I just don't have time to like go through all those episodes and stuff like that. So I just might as well just talk about the actual character instead of like all those episodes. So Emily was a very fascinating character on Pretty Little Liars. They all are. But Emily was probably my first favorite character on that show. My second was Hannah. One reason why like Emily was one of my favorites is because like she was very innocent. She was very sweet. She was kind. She was shy, a little timid, which is technically the same thing. And she was just all around like a great like person. In the beginning, she was. Her life does get kind of chaotic, just like the rest of the liars and everything, because of the whole A thing. But when you go to like the flashbacks and stuff, we see Emily has always kept her like LGBT-ness secret from like everybody, her family, her friends, and she never told nobody. It all started with her friend Allie. She had a crush on Allie. And see, Emily has never really kissed nobody. Allie will let her like practice on her and stuff, right? And so like this started more of like a flirtation, like having feelings and developing for like Allie and stuff. But the thing about Allie is Allie likes to use and manipulate people. She told Emily, you can use me as a kissing buddy only because she knew she had a crush on her. So she wanted to basically just tickle and pull and tug at her heartstrings and stuff. And then when Emily got a little too into the kissing and tried to basically make out with her, she pulled back and talking about, I'm not like a lesbian and everything. And, we were just like practicing this stuff. So this caused Emily to be like scared and even more timid. And Allie only did that just to like mess with her and everything. Allie was a terrible human being. When this show was good, it was good in the beginning, but then when it got towards the middle, it just got crazy and stupid. And so basically for like a year, maybe two, she's always hid that stuff about herself. But then she started dating a guy, and I'm not really sure if she liked that guy truly or she was just bearding him and stuff. And because like in the books, which is based off of, she's bisexual. Now in the show, it is debatable. Some say she's a lesbian, some say she's bisexual. I say she's bisexual because she did date that guy in the pilot. And then also in season 3, she clearly had feelings for Maya's supposed cousin and stuff. So she would never have those feelings and try to kiss him if she didn't like him. But because fans didn't want her being bi, they wanted her to be a lesbian, like, the creators like, all right, fine, we'll just keep her like a lesbian and stuff like that. And then the creator just basically butchered her character. Emily has a very complex history on this show, and it's just, they really messed her up later on in life. But anyway, back to this story. So she dated him, but he was very pushy when it came to like wanting like to get some and stuff, to the point where he almost assaults her. in school and everything. This scares her so bad that she breaks up with him, right? And that was in the pilot episode. Also in the pilot episode, after Allie went missing, a year, had like remember like a year had passed, Allie went missing, and so there was like a new girl who moved into Allie's house. Her name was Maya. And Maya was like this very beautiful, very charming young girl. But it's funny because the actress was a whole lot older than a teenager and a whole lot older than Shay Mitchell and stuff. At least about 10 or 15 years, probably, I believe. And so, but she looked so youthful and everything, and still does to this day. So, like, they quickly become friends, and Maya's the very flirtatious type, and Emily's kind of like, cause see, in the pilot we didn't know she was like into girls and stuff. We just assumed she was straight. So then when she started letting Maya hold her hand and all this other stuff and kiss her, it's kind of like, so this is who she really is and stuff. And so then after that, Maya started like smoking weed with her and everything, because that's what Maya does. And so they started like dating on the down low when nobody knew and stuff. And when they would hang out, they would go to like those little kissing booths in the mall. And so they started like taking just like playful pictures at first. Then they started kissing and making out. But then a problem happened. A spied on them and took the pictures and mailed them to her mom. Her mom was very disgusted by this. Her father had no idea because he was off fighting the war and stuff. And so, next thing you know, not Maya, but what's her name? Toby started like hitting on that of Emily, and Emily just wasn't interested in him. And then he quickly realized that after seeing her the way she is with Maya, maybe she's like a lesbian. So he was one of the first people to find out, even before her friends did. Then her friends found out, and they were very supportive of her. They were shocked and surprised, but they were supportive. So she started to feel more comfortable and everything, but she still wasn't ready to like tell her parents and all this other stuff. When Toby went missing and then later found by the police because of the whole Jenna thing and the whole A thing, her parents started like bashing him, which she didn't like. And so like the mom, now the dad's back in town, and the mom still kept that a secret of the pictures, right? So the dad goes into Emily's room one day because the way she's been acting, especially with the whole Toby thing. So he wants to know what's going on with her and why she keeps standing up for this whole Toby dude and why she keeps trying to see him while he's in jail. And so he constantly keeps pressuring her to tell him what's going on, because he said, you've been acting weird. Your mom sees you're acting weird. Your mom thinks you're hiding something. And Emily's at this point where she's constantly being bombarded by like so many questions and everything, and so much like wanting to just be herself and stuff, and wanting to tell and just be who she is and not have to hide herself. It's getting more and more difficult, and you can see the stress and the pain on her face. And then so she tells her dad that she's afraid. She's afraid to tell both him and her mom who she really is and everything because of how they were reacting. He's not really sure what she's talking about. And so basically under her breath, she just says, "I'm gay." And then so he's like, "What did you say?" And then she tells him again. And he's just like beside himself. He can't believe it. Like he can't believe it at all. And so she's finally now able to come out and say who she is. But now the backlash happens. The mom is not happy when the dad tells her. He's just sitting on the couch with his head down. He's trying to be level-headed and tell the mom, like, maybe this is probably like a phase she's going through, or whatever it is, she's still our daughter. But and he basically tells her, I don't like this at all. Like this is just not what he wanted in life. But he still loves her. The mom is completely pissed. She's all like, this is sick, this is disgusting. Maybe that girl's tricking her to be like this, and we can't let her be this way. And they basically get into like an argument, and they go back and forth, and then basically just the mom talking about how she will not accept this, and talking about how can you accept this, what about our morals and everything like that. And he basically still tells the same thing. It's like he doesn't like this, he doesn't want this to happen, but it's happening. And they just need, and he's all like, and then the mom's like, what, we can fix her and everything. He's all like, this is not like the time she had braces. You just can't fix this. This is like who she is and everything. While all this is going on, she's on the like top of the stairs, just sitting there, like with her eyes constantly going like back and forth, like very like still, just like listening to her parents going on and on about her, like she's some type of math equation or something like that. And that's basically what they're doing. They're just trying to solve this puzzle, and they're trying to like get the solution and fix it, but she doesn't want to be fixed. This is just like who she wants to be. And even though her dad still, like you said, doesn't like it, he's wanting to accept her, but the mom is not. And you have to stop and think about what's going through her mind at this point, because it's kind of like she sees nothing wrong with herself. Her friends don't see nothing wrong with herself. Even the boy who's accused of like being a bad boy, he doesn't see nothing wrong with it. But yet the two people she loved the most have a problem with it, or at least one of them does. And then, the mom is getting on the dad talking about, oh, you're always off like in Afghanistan in the war, and I'm over here raising this girl by myself and blah, blah, blah. And because she tells him about the whole picture thing. He's all like, why didn't you tell me? She's all like, because you've been gone for 8 months. This isn't something I just wanted to like throw on you. And so she's trying to find every solution to blame, or every like factor to blame and everything, other than just like accepting. And a lot of people have always been critical of Shay Mitchell's acting when it comes to this show, and pretty much every show she's been in. I think she does a pretty good job, and she does a really good job here. I remember when I saw this for the first time, when it aired, you can feel the emotion in just her facial expression. She doesn't even have to say nothing. You know what I'm saying? And so like you can just feel it through like the TV screen. And I remember this was like the second character I ever saw like come out. I think the first one was Marcy Rhodes, or Marcy Darcy at that time. Her cousin or sister came out, to Peggy or something like that, Married with Children. But that was played more for laughs. I didn't really pay attention to that. Plus I was young and everything. And so this was like the real true like time I've ever seen somebody like come out and them being afraid, because you really don't see that on TV back in that day. And this was like, what was it, like early 2000s or mid like 2010s or something like that. I can't remember when this came out, but it could have been 2010s. And so you really didn't see all that like happening on TV. So me watching in college, I was just like shocked and awe and like amazed and like feeling like everything that's going on and seeing how the parents were reacting and stuff. And so you kind of like, you put yourself in that mind frame of what the character is like going through. And then so after that, the parents are kind of like, okay, maybe we should meet this girl, invite her over for dinner and stuff. So then like when Emily invited her to dinner and they're at school and stuff, she's basically telling Maya how she's supposed to act around her parents. Because see, the thing is, Emily wants this to go very smoothly. If there's like a tiny bump, this could like ruin everything. So she's kind of micromanaging everything to the point where she doesn't even want Maya to crack any jokes. That's who Maya is. She's like, she's like humorous and stuff. And also she tells her you have to wear a dress. And then so Arya's all like, well, if you do decide to wear pants, you better iron your pants. Like that's how formal their parents are and stuff. Or Emily's parents. And in that way, I understand where Emily's coming, but at that same time, you should let people be who they want to be, because that's kind of the same thing she wants. Like, she wants to be who she wants to be to her parents, but then when it comes to Maya, she wants Maya to be this proper, prim, like princess of a girl, and that's not who Maya is, you know. And so while they're there at dinner and stuff, I forget exactly what happens. I think Maya is allergic to something, and the mom cooked something, so she had to like remake the deal, not deal, meal and everything. And as she's remaking something for Maya, she can see Maya is playing footsies with Emily under the table. So she goes into the kitchen to fix like more food for Maya because she's allergic to whatever she cooked. And she basically just sobs and cries. She's very like disgusted by what she sees. 'Cause in her mind, this is like an abomination and everything, you know? And I think she accidentally puts in the wrong ingredients in the food, which is Maya is allergic to. Maya gets sick. And I think Emily accuses her mom of trying to like kill Maya or something like that. And then so as time goes on in more episodes, things only get worse. See, her dad has already left. Her dad was pretty much in her corner, so that's gone, and it's just the mom she has to deal with now. When she's hanging out with Maya in her room, the mom kind of like butts in and, you know, to kind of like stop what's ever going on. I think she heard them giggling or something like that, and she just barged into the room thinking they're making out and made them stop. So, of course, this pisses off Emily and everything. And so when they leave, Maya leaves her bag behind, and then the mom finds the weed. Things get way worse after that because when Emily comes home, she goes to her room and she's just not talking to her mom. She's pissed because why? Maya is now gone. Maya parents have sent her off to some kind of like drug rehab thing. And so the mom tells Emily, like, you know, I'm the one who called the parents and all this other stuff. And this really pisses off and upsets Emily. Like, the first time she's ever been truly happy in a relationship when nobody tried to hurt her and everything, this has now been ruined by her mom. And she just has this, like, really, like, disdain towards her mom. Like, her mom took away her happiness, you know, because the girl she had a crush on before is supposedly dead and missing, and then her boyfriend tried to, like, you know, sexually assault her, like, in school and everything. And so this causes her to kind of spiral a little bit out of control. She's drinking more. She's still having to deal with the whole A thing, and she's getting pissed at her friends. And then it makes matters worse. Every time she keeps calling Maya on the cell, Maya doesn't pick up at the little rehab place. And so next thing you know, I'm trying to think what happens after this. I think she starts to like a girl named Samara, I think. Samara's a bit older and everything. And so that's going cool at first. You know, they're going to like a little gay bar, stuff like that. But then A screws that all up. And so now she doesn't even have Samara. And I'm trying to think which came first, because it's been a good while since I saw season one. So this is all just happening in season one, right? So then all of a sudden she starts to get bullied and like harassed by this girl named Paige. They're both on the swim team, but Emily's a better swimmer. Paige literally tries to kill Emily by drowning her, but she wanted to send like a message and everything. Then after trying to kill her, she comes in at night on her bike and knocks on Emily's door, and she just kisses Emily. And she's all like, God, why is everything so easy for you? And then just runs off. And I'm like, Emily, what the world just happened here? So Paige is closeted, and Paige cannot come out because her dad is even stricter than that of Emily's mom. And so when Emily, I don't know what they call this in swimming, like when you like the first person gets to swim or whatever, that pisses off Paige's dad. And so next thing you know, he's all like, "Oh, I bet the coach gave you special treatment because of who you are," and blah blah blah, stuff like that. So Arya mom overhears this and defends Emily and stuff, right? And then Arya mom tells Emily's mom about what happened. That is when Emily's mom turns around and she berates that dude, and that's when she starts to come around to that of like, accepting her daughter and who she is. Because she even told her daughter, because remember after the dinner, like she even told her daughter, like, this is sick, this is disgusting, and I don't like it and everything. And so now she's coming around because it's kind of like now she sees that her daughter isn't just going to get bullied by that of her peers, but that of adults as well. And she has to protect her daughter. So this causes her like to come around and everything. And then so what the girls do, her friends, now when it comes to Paige and Emily was really good to Paige. Emily helped Paige be herself, be her natural self around other people, to come out, to not be afraid. Once Paige finally accepted who she is and what she is. And those two had a really good relationship and dated, even though, yeah, Paige did try to drown her and everything. But they really did have a nice, beautiful relationship until Allie came back. And once Allie came back, then that's when all the complications between Paige and Emily happened, because Paige hates Allie to death because she was bullied by Allie. And so eventually those two did break up. Her friends arranged for Maya to sneak out of the rehab place and meet her in a candlelight type thing. And she basically just tells her the reason why she hasn't called is because, like, whatchamacallit, like her parents took her cell phone. Now I'm not sure which comes first, the Samara and the Paige thing or that, but it's basically just what her life has been going through. And then so after that they start to date a little bit again, and then Maya has to go off again, and then Maya ends up missing, and then Maya ends up dead. And this is where all the craziness comes. And then by season 3, the guy who Emily thought was Maya's brother turned out to be some stalker of Maya's and killed Maya. And that's when, but this was before Emily started to like fall for this dude, almost kissed him. But then he tried to kill her. Everybody's always trying to kill Emily for some reason. I guess I probably can talk about the whole Allie and Emily thing. I won't go into the whole older lady thing or the Charlotte thing. I think that's her name. No, not Charlotte. Whoever the other blonde girl was that was just so annoying on the show. But anyway, when Allie came back, of course, there was like a flood of emotions. I think Emily even passed out when she saw Allie and everything. And so, at first things were kind of like rocky between those two. But then for some reason, the writers decided to play into what fans wanted and make those two a couple, which made no sense because Allie never truly cared about Emily back in the day and just manipulated her. But then they retconned it to show that Allie did actually care for her and everything. And so they dated for the longest time towards the end of the series. And then, of course, Allie had like her, not Allie, but Emily had her egg stolen and planted into that of Allie. They gave birth to like twins. Well, technically she did, but they're not really Allie's kids. They're Emily's kids. And what's his name? Warren, I think his name is. And then it just went even more complicated after that. So the series ended with them being a family, but then Marlene Keene decided to make a spinoff and have Allie be one of the main characters. Emily wasn't in it. And then it's revealed they're broken up and basically made Allie like abandon like her kids. They're not really her kids, but you know what I'm saying? And like I said before, it just got complicated when it came to this show and the spinoffs and stuff. That's why there's no point even going into all that. I'm not going to get into the rest of her relationships because they're pretty much toxic. Like, I don't know what the deal is with the writer and the showrunner, because the showrunner is like a lesbian herself. But basically, she put Emily in some of the worst relationships, like, ever. And everybody else had a good relationship with the person they're with, but not Emily. And it's just one terrible thing, like, after another. And it's just like, why would you do this for? Like, why can't the girl just be happy? I mean, my God, she had her eggs stolen. She bore a baby from a dude she didn't even really like. The person she used to have a crush on thought was dead is back alive, and now all of a sudden they like love each other and all this other stuff. And and then this older lady used her, and it's just one complicated thing after another. Like, what was the showrunner thinking? But yeah, that is the complicated like life, at least in the first season or two of that of Emily when it came to her sexuality and everything. And it was very fascinating to watch. And there were lots of ways the parents could have went with this. I'm glad they went with the disgusted route because it's an educational moment. Like, they could have went three ways. They could have went with the parents be like, we don't care, we love you. Or they could have been with like, we don't like it, but we love you. Or it could be like, we don't like this and you need to stop. And that's basically what two of them went. One went with the whole don't like it, but I love you. And the other one went with I don't like it and you need to stop. And if it would have been like, if it would have been like easy going for her, I don't think that would have like translated well for a lot of people. It wouldn't translate well with people who are closeted. It wouldn't translate well with people who hate LGBT people, and it wouldn't translate well with people who are okay with it but just don't understand. You know what I'm saying? And this really helps people. Like, when you see these dramatic moments like this, it really truly helps and educates people on what folks are going through. Because for the most part, a straight person would never have to go through this. They'll probably only have to go through it if their parents just didn't like who they're with, only because, oh, I don't like that person because of their race, or I don't like that person because they're a bad person, or that person's a little dumb, or like, or they something like that, But they never have to deal with the way like the LGBT people have to. What did I just say? LGBT. My lips are getting stuck together. Have to go through, because not only do the parents have to like them academic wise and if they're good or bad, but because of their sexuality and everything. And so that's why I'm so glad they went more of that like angrier route, because it was just a great educational moment for like a broad scope of people. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.